This is an important topic. Chair Mays, Chair Loudermilk, thanks for doing this. The ranking members as well. Ms. Spindor, Ms. Kaufman for being here in going through this. Last month, members of the congressional community, including over 800 House members, staff, and family members, at a minimum, had their private information unnecessarily exposed after the breach of the DC Health Link. To me, the goal of our hearing today is how did this happen? What steps are being taken to protect the information of those exposed and ensuring it never happens again? We received the 7-page forensic report, Ms. Kaufman. Did I hear you that that's the final report, or is that the preliminary report?
The report we shared with the committee staff is Mandian's incident report.
And that's the full, that's not the preliminary report, that's the report?
I believe that's the report on the incident.
Let me then come in. I thought it was the preliminary report when I read it. It's 7 pages. It is wildly underwhelming if that's the final report. I think that's something we should look into more broadly. Go ahead, Ms. Kaufman.
Can I? So in addition to the getting Mandian in right away to help us with the incident response, and that's the report you have, I have asked external cybersecurity experts to look at our entire system, which includes looking at our code, looking at the AWS environment.
So there's another, so see if I get this correct. So there's another vendor separate of Mandiant that's producing this review?
We have several different expert vendors who are looking at our entire system, and what I've committed to doing earlier is providing you with information as we have information from external experts who are looking at our entire system to make sure, one, there's no malicious actor in our system.
Understood. I got a lot of questions, and I don't know if I have a short amount of time, but a short amount of time to go through with you. So I appreciate that. I'll just say that the Mandiant report was wildly underwhelming. I'll leave it there for now. You noted, I think, Ms. Kaufman, you said to Ms. Mays that this vulnerability may have existed for 5 years. Is that accurate?
The server in question was misconfigured mid-2018 when it was being configured to work with Slack.
So you'll say misconfigured, I'll say vulnerable, but the problem existed since 2018.
We are figuring out when exactly the issues occurred, but the configuration was done in mid-2018, and so another external expert on cybersecurity is doing a full investigation for me to identify all those facts.
Understood and appreciate that. Ms. Spindor, appreciate you being here. How often is the House of Representatives the target of a cyber attack?
Every single moment of every day.
Continuously.
Continuously.
Every moment, every day, we are the target of attacks. The CIO's Office of Cybersecurity works around the clock to ensure, to protect members and staff that our data is protected. Is that accurate? Because we're getting attacked around the clock.
Yes, sir. It's all the cyber team plus me.
And appreciate, and let me say, I know you got a lot of folks on your team that do a great job on behalf of both the staff and the members here, and thank you to you and your staff for the work you guys do literally around the clock, in particular as it relates to IT. Any vendor wishing to do business with the United States House of Representatives has got to go through a vigorous and rigorous assessment by the CAO in order to be approved and granted access to our systems. Is that correct?
Correct.
And would a vulnerability exist for years before in the House? Would such a vulnerability be able to exist for years before it's detected?
I would think it would be very, very hard to have a vulnerability out there that we would not detect for that length of time.
Yep, okay, so I mean, it's obviously, in theory, it's possible, but we got a really rigorous system here in the House. We don't think that happens because we have systems in place that would catch it.
Yes.
And that's why we have a high standard. And the breach that occurred did not occur in any system under your control in the United States House of Representatives, right?
That's correct.
And so the PII that's out there was because there was a vendor that wasn't vetted by the United States House of Representatives system, right?
Correct.
In members and staff are required to participate in this exchange due to a law that was written by Congress, a federal law. Is that right?
Correct.
And so the breach that occurred on a vendor that doesn't meet the House's standards. Is that accurate? This vendor, the standard that the vendor had and the error the vendor had would not meet the standard that you have for vendors to the United States House of Representatives, right?
With this current breach.
Okay, and so is Ms. Mace asked, Ms. Spindor, if I can, is the Chief Information Officer of the House and the current CAO, knowing what you do about cybersecurity practices of the DC Health Exchange Authority and the vulnerability that led to this breach, would you recommend DC Health Exchange Authority as a secure vendor with which the House could confidently do business?
I'm not sure that I would.
Well, they're below your standards, so you wouldn't, I can't fathom you'd recommend we would do business with them.
If we were doing an evaluation today.
If you did an evaluation today of the standard that existed before the breach, would they pass or fail? They'd fail,
Right,
right?
right.
But members are still doing business with the DC Health Exchange today. I'll tell you, as chairman of the Committee on House Administration, I look forward to working towards solutions to ensure that we serve this institution and we're not in this position ever again. I appreciate our witnesses being here. Madam Chair, I yield back.